Hi, welcome to my dissertation presentation where I'll be going through my development with the project so far. So, I started with just putting in some of my initial ideation that I jotted down at the beginning of the semester, as I thought this was my first step into the project really. So I just jotted down like the big problem, and then I went into a bit more detail with what the specific problem was, ideas for how to help this problem, and then a bit of a plan. And then I addressed the problem. The first one is that people who are homeless have a lack of access to necessities such as toiletries, so like toothpaste, soap, things like that. Also like clothing and underwear and sleeping bags, like things to keep them warm if they're out on the streets. And then the second problem I will be addressing is that homeless people struggle with communication, so they don't have access to letters due to having no address. And then next, I decided to go into more about what I think a good design is. So when it comes to actually designing my artefact, I have a list of things to go off and look back on. So it's all these things here. So good design comes from good research. It needs to consider human emotion, the purpose, functionality, and all the rest. So initially my plan with the project was to go into the community and interview homeless people and speak to them about their experiences and get their insight, and also charities that help with homeless people. However, due to COVID, obviously I've not been able to do this. So instead I interviewed a family member that has been homeless in the past, and I did this through this Google form here where I just asked 5 questions generally about their experience when they were homeless, and I asked a couple of questions if this touch point was a thing when they were homeless, what features would they like on it, would it help them. I just had to be quite careful in the form of what I said so I didn't risk causing any offence. Then I'd looked at the solution. So to solve the problems I'm addressing in this project, I plan to create an app to be displayed on a digital touch point in areas highly populated with homeless people, so say Piccadilly Gardens for example. I aim for the app to provide technical support for the people to access important emails or contact people, say like the doctors or pharmacy, or I want to make that possible and easier for them. There'll also be a feature where people can select items they desperately need, so like I said before, like sleeping bags or items of clothing to keep them warm. Next, I looked at personas. So I created this persona, which was based on the family member that I interviewed. And I also researched into some other personas as well to have a look what it included, so like goals, personality traits, and then from last time when I did personas, relations to technology, I remembered I put in there things like age, location, a bio, so you get an idea of the person, who they are. And then I created a storyboard based on that persona, just to basically give myself an idea, and anyone who I'm explaining the project to, an idea of how this will actually work in an actual story situation. So I won't read it all out, but it just went through how he became homeless, his situation while he was actually homeless, the difficulties that he faced, and then when he came across the touch point, him using the touch point, and then the outcome of that. So, and then a few months down the line, he'd managed to get back on his feet, basically. And then I started to sketch out some wireframes. Firstly, just by hand, what I wanted to be on the screens, and messed about with all that sort of stuff. So I started with a welcome page. Due to COVID as well, I've put a message on saying before you start, please sanitize your hands on the screen with the dispensers provided. And then you can create an account. That makes it much easier. So say they want to order items, say a sleeping bag, if they've created an account, they can just go back and log into that account, and then they can arrange to pick up their items or whatever. And then there's another page as well, just going through that user journey. There's that. And then I've just started now on my digital wireframes, but they're very just basic at the minute. So then, my next steps are user testing. So I'm going to use the paper wireframes, just ask a couple of friends to have a look at them, see what they think, get a bit of feedback. And then obviously develop my digital wireframes. I need to do my style sheets, decide on colours, fonts, everything like that. I still need a logo and a name. That's what I'm struggling with at the minute, but I'm sure it'll come to me. And then obviously my final designs and everything like that. So yeah, that's everything. Thank you for listening, and any questions?